Before we kick off our next segment, I wanted to warn our audience that it does get a little graphic. So if you do have children in the room, hit that pause button right now, put those headphones in, but it's a story you're not going to want to miss out on, and we have to tell you about it. So you have been warned, folks. Make sure you hit that pause button right now if there's children in the room. It's never easy trying to purge the filth in our society from the streets. I'm talking about pedophiles. Alex Rosen and the folks over at Predator Poachers are doing just that. They've got their work cut out for them as they travel across the country to get rid of the worst that are still on our streets. Now, they just ran into someone that literally had my I don't know. I don't know how to describe it anymore. Every time I talk to Alex, it just seems to get worse and worse and worse when it comes to the response from law enforcement when it comes to these cases and the egregious crimes that these individuals are accused of. And now there's one individual named Majul Butler, probably not even how you pronounce it. But ultimately, folks, this individual is now allegedly accused of admitting to molesting a 6-year-old child, filming the act, and then bragging about it to folks over at Predator Poachers. Now, listen, it's not just me telling you about this. This Butler guy admitted it to Alex when he was on the scene. Take a listen.
Yeah, you know what I'm about to bring up, don't you? Okay. So there was a, you know what? You're man enough. I'm just going to ask you why.
That's a good question.
Let's start with this. Do you have regret about what happened? Okay, so now let's get to the why.
To be honest, bro, I feel like the young girls will go through something with somebody, and then they'll think that's fine with me. You know what I mean? Then you're like, stop, chill. You know what I mean? And then
How old were these girls?
elementary school.
Elementary school. Okay, does 5 or 6 ring a bell? I'm sure you know why I'm going to ask this, and you know we're on the same team with this. We don't like this happening. Did it go past just rubbing their vaginas, or did it go all the way?
No, it stayed there, man. I promise you that.
It's really hard to watch that type of stuff. I don't know how Alex does what he does. He's here now to join us. Alex Rosen to the show. Thank you for being here, sir. It's disgusting to sit here and listen to this, and it really gets me on edge, Alex. I'm gonna get your reaction to your interaction with Butler first, and then I want to talk about how the police reacted to all of this because you literally handed it to him on a golden platter. So let's go first to Butler. Your reaction to hearing him admitting to molesting a 6-year-old and then also adding to the discussion that he did this while he was babysitting the child.
Yeah, so to add on to all that, Mijul, this interaction was because Mijul went to go meet our 13-year-old decoy for sex and brought condoms with him. But, you know, a person tipped us off to Mijul, and then we threw a decoy account on him, and he followed through with everything. So he made allusions to doing this while babysitting, and when I asked him about it, you know, he started to make some admissions to stuff. I'm sure he did way more than he even admitted to, but he absolutely incriminated himself to put himself in jail for the rest of his life. And he also identified who the victim was, gave the name of the victim's parents, and he laid it all out to where it's a very easy prosecution for this, to where any defense attorney for him would be extremely scared to take it to trial. And, you know, unfortunately, when the cops showed up, they did not care that he said all of this on camera, did not care that there was a video that would put him away for the rest of his life sitting on his phone. They let him walk with his phone after hours of deliberation of nothing.
Yeah, and let's listen to that interaction that you had with law enforcement because as if the first video wasn't egregious. I mean, the second one gets even worse because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be law enforcement. So let's take a listen.
We have 2 people arrested and convicted in this city. What changed from October to now?
I just spoke with the detective. I honestly don't know. This is out of my realm of knowledge. It's something they all handle.
Are y'all going to seize his phone?
I don't have the legal authority to do that right now.
Okay, ma'am. He admitted to viewing child pornography
I
on that
understand
phone.
that.
He has a video of him raping or of him molesting a 6-year-old on that
So the detectives will
phone.
know that information.
Okay, can I please talk to the detective?
I can't give you her contact info
Well,
right now.
can you please call her, because this guy is going to get rid. He admitted to molesting this kid, and it's on his phone right now. Can I play you the clip of him saying he has it on his phone?
I understand where you're coming from right now because
there's no two sides to this. This is a child molester who has evidence of this on his phone right now. There's no coming from anywhere.
We have to understand that we cannot just take somebody's.
different than taking his phone.
We also cannot seize somebody's property if we do not have reason to do so. If you feel so strongly about it, then you should be in law enforcement. Because then when someone makes these admissions to you, you can do something about it.
You know,
which would be great for you.
And
Because it sounds like you care.
I don't want to get into measuring contest, but
Well, I don't have one, so
well,
we can't measure
that I
those.
understand. So she talked to him for this long and didn't even take his phone. Okay, so you guys let a pedophile walk free tonight. Unbelievable.
Okay. So obviously that's egregious, especially a response from law enforcement. And I think it even makes it worse that these are female officers that are making these comments to you. But let's go to the statement that I received from Virginia Beach Police, because when I saw this, I reached out for comment, and they say, we are aware of the incident and are currently reviewing the information received, as well as our response to the situation, which sounds like Internal Affairs is doing the digging into all of this. Alex, you've since spoken to the police after all of this kind of blew up on social media. What are they now telling you?
So Internal Affairs called me at 7:45 in the morning, which I think is pretty encouraging actually, and they told me that of course they are investigating themselves and holding themselves accountable, which I'm we'll see. And then I also got a call right before I got on here from a sergeant in Virginia Beach who was not on scene that night, wanting to meet with me in person to discuss this case. So the ball seems to be rolling a little bit, but it's only rolling because of the Order 66 we put out on Virginia Beach to have people hold them accountable and demand that Mijul Butler goes to jail for the obvious crime she admitted to. And, that cop saying that him admitting something to me is not probable cause. It is absolutely probable cause. In Virginia, they're allowed to they're allowed to take anonymous tips as probable cause. And this is way more than that. This is an on-camera admission of a crime that would put him away for the rest of his life in this state. And the crazy way she gaslighted me when 2 hours before that we were in Williamsburg, and a pedo had his phone seized for receiving pornography of babies to that phone, Bobby Stabler in Williamsburg, and the cops were listening to all of our footage, then made the determination to seize his phone based off that. So of course they can use citizen tips as a probable cause. I mean, that happens all the time with drug stuff, with murders, with everything else. So it's ridiculous, and I just felt like they were dead set on not wanting to do paperwork that night.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, honestly, because you've made the comments too that this is now the third person you've caught in Virginia Beach. There were two other priors and they had
Correct.
no problem with working with you. So the fact that you come across these individuals who are doing their best to not file charges, to not make an arrest, I mean, even just seize his phone and bring him down to the police department so that someone else can grill him personally and so he doesn't have access to delete
Right.
these child pornographic images from his devices would probably be like the lowest thing that they could have done. And yet they still went even lower. So it's pretty disgraceful, I have to say, Alex, that they wouldn't do that. But keep in mind, I want to put this up because when I was looking into the Virginia Beach Police Department, I wasn't so surprised when I saw that their priority, of course, was celebrating Pride Month instead of actually, maybe better training their officers to respond to crimes like these. Your reaction, because it seems to also be like there's a lot of females that I see in high positions, and it's not sexist to say, I'll say it, that they don't belong in law enforcement. I don't think they do, but I'll let you kind of talk about what's been going on there.
Well, just think of it. Mijul is a 6'4", 200-pound African American individual, and just imagine if the cops decided to do their job that night and throw cuffs on him. And he's just like, "Nope, I don't want to get arrested." He could easily just break out of that grasp. I mean, the cops on scene were frail. I probably weighed more than all three of them combined. And there was one cop on scene who I think like cared and was like nice and wanted him arrested, but she was timid, and she was more so a concerned citizen wearing a freaking police Halloween costume with a badge, not able to do a job. So I mean, we don't need people who are empathetic to be arresting dangerous criminals. Like, look, when they go interview this kid forensically about what Mijul did to her, you do want a female talking to her. That is a female law enforcement job. But on the street arresting people who are hostile, who are facing the rest of their life in prison like Mijul is, absolutely not. And the emotions are too high. They're not physically strong enough, and it's just not a role for them.
Yeah, yeah, we see that play out time and time again. I remember being in New York City and watching as a female NYPD officer was unable to help out her male officer partner, and he was getting the crap beaten out of him, and she's just sitting there with the baton, just smacking him on the sides and not doing anything to really help and stop this. God forbid if this suspect were to grab his gun, it'd be an over situation for
Right.
all of them. So it's just the denial that women have when it comes to these things too. I think needs to be looked at. I mean, the reality is these positions aren't really meant for us, and yeah, there's a role for those who could be empathetic, and I think you detailed it perfectly there. So we'll see how it all plays out. Virginia Beach police ignored me when I reached out to them yesterday, gave them a deadline. I gave them another deadline as well as today. Didn't hear really anything back until I CC'd their internal affairs, and that's when suddenly a couple of minutes later they did issue that response. So hopefully their internal affairs officer could apply some pressure here, because this guy shouldn't have been released. Now they're going to probably have to wonder, is he going to flee? Is he going to go to another state? I mean, if I'm him, I'm not sticking around. I'm bouncing and getting far, far away from all of that. So we'll see
Oh
how it
yeah.
all plays. We'll see how that all plays out. Alex, too, I wanted to pitch your Twitter page because, folks, this work, first off, it's not easy, but it's also not free. And so if you'd like to support his work, you got to head on over to his X page and subscribe. It's really important that you do. I subscribe to you all over the place on all platforms that I
Thank
possibly
you.
can, because it's important work that you're doing, Alex. The officer gave you a little side comment, and I'll let you respond to it too. She gave you a little side comment saying that if you want to go out there and do something like this, that you should become a member of law enforcement. But I actually think you're more productive than any law enforcement agency in the country. Your reaction to her making that snarky comment?
Well, I think we are in a better position to actually help communities by getting pedos locked up or helping get pedos locked up. Because in Virginia Beach, we have two other pedo catches, and both have pled guilty and are now convicted pedophiles. And they're just awaiting sentencing later this year. And that sergeant had nothing to do with any of those. I mean, I think she just comes out to very few calls because with that attitude, I can't see her dealing with a lot of high stress situations. I think at this point, something tragic would have probably happened to her with that attitude at every single scene. So I think she's called out to very few things. And I'm sorry, I don't want a cushy little desk job. I'd rather do this. And I think the experience and the fulfillment of doing this and knowing a difference is being made is way better than wearing a badge pulling people over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Alex Rosen, thank you for joining us again. To everyone at home right now, head over to his X page, subscribe. It's I Fight for Kids. I Fight for Kids. That's where you're going to want to go to support his work. Alex, thank you as always. We appreciate it.